anniversary of the founding of the Zionist movement by Herzl, Theodor Herzl, in Basel, Switzerland. The First Zionist Congress was held in Basel. We have here our Herzl mascot, compliments of David Matlow, all the way from Toronto. And Mr. Herzl brought together 200 Zionists from 17 countries in Basel, Switzerland in 1897. Among them were 5 Americans. So American Zionists have been there from the very beginning. And that movement that led in Herzl, the First Zionist Congress, led to the founding of the State of Israel, organized the Jews around the world to push for the modern Zionist movement and the creation of the modern State of Israel. Herzl was born in 1860. Unfortunately, he died in 1904 at a young age, sadly. And in 1960, the Queen Zionist, and I did a little research on this, so I was only reporting what I saw. This park had been formed in 1957. In 1960, they asked the city to name it for Herzl and call it Freedom Square, as Herzl was a fighter for freedom for the Jewish people and a model for all peoples. And this park was named Freedom Square with the Herzl Memorial, which, to the best of our knowledge, is the only public monument to Herzl in the United States. And so we are here to take a picture, remember the occasion. Some of the Jewish media and others will be writing about it, as well. We take a local angle on Herzl. The other connection to Queens that's important is, as Mr. Weprin said, or no, somebody said a minute ago, was in, was that in, right close by, in the park, in Queens, in Flushing Meadow Park, is the Queens Museum. That building was the New York Pavilion at the World's Fair, and then became the first hall, the General Assembly of the United Nations. And the United Nations met in Queens, in that building, for several years in the late 40s. And in that hall, right, close by, is where the partition vote happened. 29th of November, a famous date known in Israelis, and Kaftet November of 1947 was the vote of the United Nations to create the State of Israel. The partition, the State of Israel, was formed in May of 1948. And tied in with Herzl, Herzl said, when the Basel Zionist Congress met, he said, in Basel I founded the Jewish state. He wrote this in his diary a few years later, and he said, something to the effect that people would, if I said it publicly now, people would laugh at me, but in 5 years, or surely 50 years, people will come to it. And it was 50 years later, in 1957, that the UN in Queens voted for the partition plan, which led to the State of Israel. So it's exciting to be here with all of you. I want to thank Rabbi Waxman and the Queens Jewish Council for organizing all of us to be here. And I want to thank Francine Rauvogel, Chief of Staff at the consulate, for arranging this together. And 5 years ago, I forgot. I acknowledge everybody forgot Francine. I was gonna, the main reason for gathering is to record and Alicia Post, the National Program and Communications Director, my deputy and colleague for everything at AZM. So thank you all for coming. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the Deputy Consul General of Israel, Israel Litzan. And thank you all for being here.
Good afternoon. Thank you and of course AZM, the Queens Jewish Community Council, all our friends, elected officials and members of the community who joined us today. One thing I should say, I hope your next stop is Basel, because I think the weather should be much better to wear such a mascot in Switzerland. We're celebrating the 145th anniversary of the First Zionist Congress, but I think that what we're celebrating is the legacy of one leader, the gentleman here, Binyamin Ze'ev Theodor Herzl, a person who, think about it, at the age of, unfortunately, he passed at the age of 44. you managed to do quite a lot with having the vision, the determination, exactly, and the leadership. The leadership to actually gather 200 of, people who actually think like you, who share this vision, and actually make this happen. I saw of course, Theodor Herzl is very famous for saying, "If you will it, it is no dream." I think that all of us agree that the state of Israel and our existence as a people, the revival of our presence in the land of Israel, in our homeland, the revival of our language after so many years, it's not only a dream, but actually it's a miracle. Thanks to this gentleman here. I want to quote one thing from your book, The Jewish State. It ends actually with this visionary thought. Therefore, I believe that a wondrous generation of Jews will spring into existence. The Maccabeans will rise again. Let me repeat once more my opening words. The Jews who wished for a state will have it. We shall live at last as free men on our own soil and die peacefully in our own homes. The world will be freed by our liberty, enriched by our wealth, magnified by our greatness. And whatever we attempt there to accomplish for our own welfare will react powerfully and beneficially for the good of all humanity. And I think that this is your very special vision that I hope that you all share with me, the fact that this is the purpose of the State of Israel, and this is what we're trying to do, to bring everything that is good about the State of Israel, also here to America, here to Queens, and to celebrate with all of you today. So thank you very much again for joining us.
Really quick, I just want to thank everyone for coming. Obviously, it's a very important event. We Jews, people in general, are lucky to have Queens and to have a place which is so full of so many diverse types of people who all work together, and we've got the support of leadership here. But the vision of Herzl was the realization that without the tethering to a strong homeland, which Israel has presented for the Jewish people, we can't be free anywhere. So we're grateful for that important fact. We're grateful to be able to celebrate it here in Queens, where, thanks to this great leadership, we feel free all the time, but it's also great to know that there is a Jewish state elsewhere. I guess I'm going to announce the legislators who are here, and if anyone wants to come up and say a word as I introduce them, feel free to do so. So Senator Leroy Comrie is here. If you want to say something, the floor is yours.
Just thank you for inviting me. I learned a lot today.
Thank you so much for all that you do. We have two members of the Assembly. Thank you, David Webber, the senior member of the Assembly. Right in front of me. As I get older, I get
just happy to participate, and I guess another connection between the founding of Israel and the United States is the resemblance between our president Abraham Lincoln and Theodor Herzl, and it took a guy from Canada to show us that.
And the Assemblyman Neely Rosick. Our local
Herzl is
council.
my homeboy.
That's for the paper, by the way. Herzl is my homeboy. I don't know if you got that. Our city councilman, Councilman Jim Gennaro.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really a pleasure to be here. Just a note to my chief of staff. Maybe we should put a capital allocation in the budget next year to spruce up the park a little bit in recognition of this great man and all of his wonderful achievements, and that. Yeah, maybe that's appropriate.
Also, the only memorial to Herzl in the United States, he said.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the more reason.
I think we did the research 5 years ago and proved that really is.
And we also want to appreciate that Pesach Messina is here representing the Speaker of the City Council. So thank you very much.
It's in my district all the time. It's great. I don't have to show up and stuff. Pesach is there, you know. So,
And of course, Jimmy Pellman is the Democratic District
Hey.
Leader.
Thank you, all of us, and all of you for taking the time out to come here to memorialize and remember someone who was very active in supporting the state of Israel and also protecting our brethren and ourselves. And we thank the United States for hosting us and taking care of us. We also thank all of the elected officials who make a major effort to be there whenever we need them. We also thank the General Counsel of Israel, actually Deputy General Counsel and his associate, because they make this not only festive, but important. And thank you all for coming.
thanks.
Okay, so thank you on a hot August day it's a great turnout on short notice, and thank you the QJCC. I know many will be at the parade at the concert later, and now we have the hardest task, which is to get everybody in a picture. We can do a couple of different pictures. So
What time is the concert later?
the concert is.